Okay. This is complicated, and I'm sorry that it's complicated, but I have a lot of memories, and they're mixed up, and they're mixed up because Hollywood was involved, and obviously visitors were involved. And then for a while, I lived a pretend life that, for the most part, I thought was a normal life, but I was wrong. It was nowhere near what normal would be. When I was very little, I didn't sleep much. I thought I did, but I actually didn't. Um, I was probably abducted on a nightly basis. Okay, either by the visitors or by Dave. I don't know which or both. All right, but they used to steal me constantly, so I'm missing a lot of memories, and what I do remember is really bad, really, really bad. All right, um, multiple dads, more than likely visitor created. So they're not my dads, but they were rapists and abusive. I've been called every name in the book, not just once, but on a constant basis. Raped, abused pretty severely, tortured, tied to chairs, beaten, a lot of bad stuff. All right. So, I have taken 5 years, 5.5 years it has taken to get to this point, to get my memory back, to get me out of the bed. I was bedridden. I was almost dead because of Edward Malik. Right? I was in constant pain every day for over 10 years, probably longer than that. So I had to change a lot of things in order to be standing here in front of you, and there is a such thing as almost normal. Miracles do happen, so keep that in mind. All is not lost. You can heal. You can get better. Okay? I'm proof, and you need to know that. It's really important. I also had Stockholm. Okay, so that was a hard thing to work through, but once I identified it, I made my mind up, and that was it. And here I am, homeless. But it's a journey. Um, Hopefully, it doesn't land me evaporated. Anyway, there were a lot of things taught to me growing up, a lot of things I'm missing memories of, and I'm foggy about. Right? I do know was raped. I do know that I was kidnapped. I do know about the policies. I remember it might have been Cuban descent or Hispanic descent invading Summit, riding motorcycles up and down the streets, sidewalks. I remember when things got pretty bad. I think they might have even brought in tanks or something to put a stop to it all. A lot of them um, were brought to Dave uh, to meet him. I think he called himself a king or something. I was supposed to be part of a gang, the Kings that he created. Okay, it was part of Al Capone's mob. So that's what his family supposedly had in it. But I don't know that for sure. That could have been a lie. It's one hell of a way to scare the shit out of people. Excuse me. But I don't. Um, Something about the woman who was my grandmother being somehow related. When I looked at the dates in the family heritage book that I was given, they didn't add up to me. That's why I questioned it. Plus, I was lied to my whole life about who I even am. So that family heritage book at this point is nothing more than evidence of those lies. Um, Somehow or another, Lucas Pictures was involved, um, and I had a aunt that was Deborah Lucas. Hollywood is involved. Dave had said that my being kidnapped was what I got for being so cute. I looked like Mickey Mouse. I had a little button nose and pigtails. So, um, I do remember one time we were watching Starman, um, and he said that he was one, and somebody barged in the house and dragged him out. I also remember another time where he was in the house, and somebody else who looked just like him came to the house with an ID, who was obviously lost, but looked exactly the same. So there are multiples. Okay, I pretty much think they're all bad. There's a Thompson, a Smith. There's an Annie Thompson also involved in this case. She is Ed Malik's Gumad. So I think that's her dad, and he has kidnapped me before. There's also Smith, and there's Dave. He may use other names too, like Tom and Steve. Tom meaning Uncle Tom, Snitch. Steve, Get Even Steven. Basically, he's blinded by vengeance. Okay, it doesn't make any sense to me, but you know, he'll put people up to raping and then kill them. He'll put people up to doing bad things or tempt them into doing bad things the same way Satan would. Okay, God doesn't tempt you, Satan does. And then when you do, he punishes you. For some reason, I know not to do bad things. And turning him in is not a bad thing. Matter of fact, it is a direct order, a repeated direct order given to me multiple times throughout my lifetime. Okay. When and if this ever happened and it got to this point, this is what I am to do. And that's not just because he told me to, it's because it is the right thing to do. He always tries to explain away the bad things that he's done. There is no excuse. There's no excuse for mutilating someone. There's no excuse for planning it ahead. And it's not just psychic ability. Okay, he chose to do the things that he did. Um, so even if it were psychic ability, then obviously he could have changed direction or done something to prevent the situation. He didn't have to do it. Things such as mutilating me, my kidney, and organs being stolen, all of those things he had planned out long ago. And when I mean long ago, I mean long, long, long ago. Right? Um, Even kidnapping my kids, because he taught me the law, he taught me the legal maneuvers that were going to be used. Then he set it all up, and he called me and told me, and I told him no. I didn't want to get involved in any of this, and he did it to me anyway. I also informed him if he did, I would turn him in. So, for a while, he tried to blame everything off on Kathy. I had memory gaps, so that's what I thought. I thought he was on my side, but obviously, all I have to do is look at this life, my girls, and this body to know that that's not true. There's only one side that he is on, and that is his own. Okay? And everyone out there needs to be clear on that and stop listening to him. Because he's purposefully throwing people under the bus in front of him to keep himself out of jail longer. Okay? This is America. There is no such thing as a king. Okay? Unless it's a gang member. So I want you to keep that in mind as well. Okay? There's also no such thing as a handler for any of you out there who have heard the term, or a monitor. Okay? The monitor is in front of me. I'm looking at it. It's called a screen for a computer. Alright, and a handler, do I look like a dog to you? Dogs have handlers. I'm a human being. Alright, these words are another word for hostage taker, or human trafficker, or sex trafficker. Okay? Which also means rapist, pedophile, possible serial killer, more than likely. Alright? So, if somebody says that they own someone else, obviously that's something you would want to report, or not go along with. Okay? I don't have an owner. Somebody said that to me. I have to talk to your owner. Somebody else mentioned that they had had a handler. And it rubbed me wrong because I had heard the term before. And it's not right. Right? That infers that you're somehow dangerous. when it's actually the person who is making the statement that's dangerous, not the victim. There's a big time victim abuse mentality going on. Um, I don't know what that's all about. Right? It's hateful, it's rotten, it's mean spirited, it's cold, it's ice cold. That's not how you help someone. That's how you hurt them. That's how you silence them. That's how you abuse them more on the behalf of whoever hurt them in the first place. Okay, whatever kills you makes you stronger. That's an adage actually designed to hurt your self-esteem and to hurt you. I want everyone to be clear on this. Um, this was done to me, not for me. Make no doubt about it. Okay, um, you have to call a spade a spade. All right. This was not done to make me stronger. This was not done to me to make me a better person or a productive citizen in life. Okay. This wasn't done to give me direction or purpose. I had a purpose. My purpose was to be a mom to my girls. Right? That's my purpose. And that's my choice to make, not somebody else's. Right? I had my own set of dreams, my own ambitions, right? My own wants and needs. And no one had a right to edit or change or prevent me from obtaining those wants and needs or desires or dreams. At this point, thanks to all of you, I don't even dream. It's complete blackness, right? I don't appreciate that. Now, my daughter Madeline has a lazy eye. It needs to be known that Dave did that to her when she was first born in the hospital. I just did not remember it. It happened so quickly, and I don't know what happened to me directly afterward. Alyssa Malik's brain may have been damaged by him as well. They have shot lasers at my brain in the past. She also was given anesthesia when she was about a month old because she had a hernia and it needed that corrected. So it could have been those two things. Okay. Mackenzie has dyslexia and ADD, and considering the situation at my house that I didn't even know about with all of us being poisoned, and God knows what else has been done that, again, I didn't even know about, and I hope they don't just for their own sake, but who knows? Um, I don't really blame her. It's kind of hard to concentrate with the chaos going on. And as for Michaela, Dave's also started working on her eye and harming her. He doesn't like her because of her name. He doesn't like her because he doesn't like her name. He thinks people should be killed because he doesn't like their name. That's how insane he is. Alright? So, his own kids that live around him and in his house, Robert Butterfield, also an assailant, wears diapers, the result of poison more than likely, but he says it's a fetish. He's into Astartes. Okay? Adam, his head is smashed, and that's not his fault. They said it was a birth defect, but then it was also stated that Dave put his head in a vice when he was an infant. He had to undergo a ton of surgeries to try and correct that. Okay? And then on top of that, there's Jordan, who I need a DNA test on. Okay? It's complicated. So when you put it all together, okay, those are just the people who are directly surrounding him. Kathy does not look right. Her neck is all swelled up, and I do not know why. I know she's having multiple heart attacks. I'm not sticking up for these people, okay? Yes, they are criminals, but there's a point behind this, okay? They're criminals, they belong in jail. Not sitting in a house, not allowed to roam free, to destroy and wreak havoc on society as well as other people's lives. But they deserved to be in a cell. So does he. At a bare minimum, alright? And that's called reality. That's the way the world works. That's the way it's supposed to work. You don't just leave people out on the street and let them have at it like they're doing. Okay, because there's actual victims out there, real live human beings that are being negatively affected by these animals. And that's what they are. They're animals. Right? They don't come off as animals. They come off nice. But they're not nice. Obviously. Okay? Obviously they're not nice. Kathy may also be a rape victim. Dave had mentioned something about her being his prostitute when she was 16. Obviously, with the age difference, sounds more like rape to me. Okay? So, apparently, this family, if that's what you want to call it, has some kind of sick desire for some reason to stick their penises into women where they do not belong in an effort to dominate and control them. Okay? Also to push them over their edge. They are women hating, right? And that's actually what it amounts to, right? They have created nasty stuff like sex circles where multiple people have sex with one woman, which, oh, by the way, I hate to tell you this, that's gang rape. I've gotten word that these types of things are going on in churches, in basements, and in barns. It's flat out disgusting. Okay? I don't understand exactly what has gone wrong inside people's brains. Rape is rape, and that is rape. Right? There's even symbolism in the environment in regards to this. Just because something was put into a book, oh, by the way, just so you know, the man on the back of the book looks like Gregory Smith, one of the assailants of mine. So he may be related. That's number one, last name Smith, keyword here. And then on top of that, it's written by Buckman, and the Bucks are in my family heritage book. Okay? So the buck stops here. These things were put into these books to detour you, to turn you away from reading the rest of the book. Okay? From learning about things other than that. Because where anyone would possibly think that you could get mystical magical powers of any shape, kind, or form from a hoo-hoo, I really don't know. Right? But for people to actually believe that makes me think there are a lot of really dumb people out there. Okay? A lot of really dumb people. All right? Now, we have an alien problem. Okay? It's a real, live, human-looking, human-appearing alien problem. Right? We have the visitors, but I want you to keep in mind, I think the visitors can create pretty much anything they want. All right? So I think if they wanted to create an alien with antenna, they might be able to. So that keep that in mind. Kind of like a costume with a soul inside. Life force. Sounds kind of nuts, but they deal a lot with souls, all right? Which is why they want to detour you away from knowing that you have. Now, when you're first born, you have a white soul. It's brand new and fresh. It stays that way as long as you're good. You might make a mistake here and there along the way, but as long as you don't break the major God laws like coveting and murder, and stealing, stuff like that. Mostly the two biggest ones. The other ones, you might mess up when you're a kid, little, but you try not to mess them up as an adult. You can lose your soul that way. Okay. Right now, they're trying to push me into taking life, which isn't going to happen. But they are trying hard. Okay. They are trying hard. So, you have that. Now, if I think your soul can live on, okay, as long as you take care of your body, you're not poisoned constantly, and not killed. Most people, I thought, were that way. I've heard President Trump use the word immortal. They also say the same word in the Bible, and Prince tries to inform you about time. Okay, you have one birthday, that's the day you're born. Now, for whatever reason it is, especially lately, people like to hone in on your age. How old are you? That's not your business. Okay? It's not your business. It didn't used to be. But if you want to kill off humanity and you want people to forget, one way to do that is by creating all these stupid things. Like forcing people to age, carving up their faces, giving them lines, yeah, with scalpels, stabbing them, okay, giving them false scars, starving them, giving them strychnine, arsenic, drying them out, sucking out their blood. Right? Because some of these aliens do age. We don't. We're not supposed to. Only to a certain point. And we might notice that eventually, right? I mean, if we're all walking around young and all of a sudden we start seeing all these elderly people, we would definitely start to notice and pick up on it. Right? They also made a lot of other changes. They taught us a lot of things wrong. They planted a lot of seeds in our minds, created a lot of blockages and clogs. These things might not sound familiar to you, but that is what they have done using conditioning, false education, lies, self-esteem robbing words, okay? Doubt. They've instilled doubt, shame, panic, and fear, and anxiety into you. That's what they've done. All right? They've beaten you down and oppressed you. And in doing so, they've taken your personal power. And hopefully, what they want, I mean, on their way of looking at it, they want your will for survival. So they put insurance into place. They put us in debt pretty much right away. Okay? All of a sudden, we had life insurance and debt. Our gold went missing. Dave's grandfather had worked at the Federal Reserve Bank. Okay? So, that would be Ted Brailsford. So, where did the gold go? Well, one of two places that I can think of. One would be Mount Rushmore, and the other would be on the visitor ship. Which I am going to be honest. I hope that that's where it is. Do you know why? I hate that shit. And I figure if I tell you the truth, maybe he'll blow it up, and then the gold could fall back down. But that's, figure I'll let you know. So they install life insurance. Condition you to die. Start teaching you about death rituals. Now, it's not just them. You have communists too. Okay? Start teaching you about death rituals. Funerals, putting that on TV. Everything dies now. Okay? Everything is born and everything must die. And you start to believe it because you might not remember. And part of why you don't remember, is because it catches on, for one thing. People beat it into you, for another. And that magic box sitting in your living room that's constantly conditioning you to believe. Okay. There's also church. Right. They come out with other things. Like you're only supposed to live for so many years. During those so many years, you must gradually age. You should look a certain way at this age and a certain way. This is all Dave. Just so you know. It's all Dave. He's the one who's got a lot of this shit. Alright? If somebody lived to be older than they wanted them to be, they would burst into their house and euthanize them. Right? Then they also started playing in people's guts and taking their organs out. Mutilating infants the moment they're born, and even in sometimes men, and women too. Okay. Circumcising them and cutting off their clitoris. Did you know that we now live in South Africa in a tribe? We're tribal now. Yep. We're tribal. We're savage tribes. That's what we are. Because that's where I learned about them being done, was Africa and tribes. Savage tribes. Not civilized people that wear suits, go to work every day. Okay. So they basically enslaved us, is what I'm telling you. You wake up every morning and you have to go to work. You work all day long. You put your kids in daycare. You're not creating really that strong of a bond. If they detect that you're having too much fun, or you're too good of a parent, or your relationship is too solid, They literally set out to destroy it like they've done to me. They want to tear your heart out of your chest because their entire idea is conquering. Okay? They want to limit how many children you have. They will slime your cervix and get you pregnant and then suck the baby out of you without your permission. They just struck you up both times. Okay, I don't believe in abortion. I didn't get a choice. I guess they were hungry. Okay? While you're asleep, they'll also drain you of your blood or even your flesh. Use large needles to suck the liquid flesh out from under your skin, like what was done to my vagina and possibly also to my breasts and other parts of my body. Then they'll cut you with knives, give you false stretch marks. Punishment for becoming pregnant and bringing a new birth into. They'll tell you that they're stretch marks, but they're really not. They're cuts, filleted like a fish. There are multiple types of aliens. I once saw a ship. It was very large and round over Maryland. It said Mason on the side of it. Okay, so there are Masons that come off the ship, not humans. Okay, it needs to be understood that there's a difference. There may be humans that are Masons. They might have got roped in. They probably did not know, or maybe they did. Maybe they're hanging out. I don't know. They have a communist mindset, and it's very Nazi Germany logos, that sort of thing. Which means they don't believe in the Constitution or our rights. They also believe in aging you all up, not allowing you to stay alive or live, how many children you should have, and all that great stuff that's not supposed to happen in the United States. You should be able to do it. It's called liberty, happiness, and freedom. Okay. So, see that cough, that lovely cough? That is the combination of two things. One would be lasers shot at my lungs by the lizards, and the other would be smoking, which also, they hate the smell. Okay? And I'm a nervous wreck, especially when they're around, and my kids are not. So, you also have what are called starmen, and they also came off of a ship. They don't seem to have feelings, and very, very pushy. Dave would know more about them than I really do. Okay? You have something called a croc. This gets really scary. They can actually become a crocodile. They devour their victim whole. They defecate out the skin and then put it on to themselves. Somehow it magically becomes the person again, except much, much larger. Larger. They also become extremely predatory. It is as if there are two souls trapped inside one body, the original human soul and then the croc soul. A constant battle of wills. Okay? I have seen shredded. They will keep that body for a while, and then they will find their next victim and devour them and assume their identity. Crocs love life insurance, and they love hunting, and they love corruption. They're very hateful and mean-spirited. They spout off insults. They make it so you can't concentrate. They drive you nuts on telepathy. On purpose. Okay, Dave is more than likely a croc at this point. I saw him eat. Kathy also, and Ed. Dave said Ed was eaten, and he looks like he might be a croc. And I think he said that too. Right? And then Tony said he was a lizard. But I don't know. So, uh, yeah, there is a problem, and it's called an invasion. And all of these have communist ideology. The Starmen may have been the Nazis that invaded during Nazi Germany times and stole soldiers' uniforms, put them on, and introduced themselves or, became Nazis. Okay? I don't know if they age or not. I think they do. I'm not sure. I thought our bodies were pretty much the same. Okay? But I know one of them snuck in. Alright? And in sneaking in, that's what would happen. Now, you have to keep in mind the visitors steal people. Alright? You will be abducted or could be abducted and not even know it. Not have a memory of it ever. Not even have a memory of them. In fact, I wasn't abducted by them so many times it's not even funny. Okay? They really hate my guts. And here's reality. My kids told me that there were visitors at the door, and I walked over to the front door, looked outside, and didn't see anybody standing on the front porch, and that was my response. Right? That's what these things do to you. Okay? How could you be abducted so many times when you're young and have no memory of it at all, or then? Right? It's a very scary thing. Which brings me to my next point, chips. I found a flyer for a chip. It was a Mason who recommended that the chip be put into my brain to destroy my imagination station. Okay. That woman's name was Kim Hoggy. I remember the event. It occurred in Maryland. I think I have the flyer. It says right on it, greetings. I'm surprised it doesn't say Earthling. Right? These chips, I think, cause amnesia, and they can also be used as torture tools. Right? They could also be used for tracking and hunting you down to kill you. Nothing like sitting there feeling like somebody's touching your privates all day long. You want to talk about somebody getting driven insane. Except that's actually Dave. He can't think about anything else. Tony too, because I noticed he's marked. Yeah, he touched my privates and it makes your face change. Just so you know. So, this is what is called reality. The world used to be different than it is today. In a lot of ways. Some of which I don't want to talk about. Probably because I've been conditioned not. Okay. But it used to be different. Quite beautiful. And then there were things that were made up to take things away. There was conditioning done to a lot of us, not just to me. Words like schizophrenia were created to take telepathy from people and to abuse them. The administration of formaldehyde-containing drugs to ruin your cells in your body and to numb your brain. Easier prey. Okay? Easier prey. If you can't think straight, you can't make good, solid decisions. If you can't make solid decisions, and there's aliens around, that makes you easy prey. Okay? Especially if there's life insurance out on you. And then add in to that millions of policies. Right, right now you need what I call a clear level head. Clear means no drugs or alcohol. Right? Let's see, what else? We have the invention of pills, which are toxic and poison and chemically based. Those things are new. Okay, we didn't have those in the 1800s, and they didn't start popping up until after modern medicine was created. Before that, people hardly ever went to the doctor, mostly for injuries. Okay, you might get the sniffles, but for the most part, we were supposed to be pretty healthy. I saw yesterday a reminder that we had a Chinese invasion back in the late 1800s. As a matter of fact, it was a Chinese news station that I saw it on. Right before they showed me the number 21, the color blue all over the place, and coronavirus image. Okay, which tells me that China happens to know something that maybe they didn't know I would pick up. I'm extremely angry. 21 is the number for poison. That is the code. Okay, blue, the color for insurance. I don't think this one. Especially with everyone walking around wearing masks. And the reminder that the Chinese had invaded. And with that invasion, obviously, all sorts of problems. Like the erosion of our government. The Constitution. Propaganda on the magic box TV set that all of us have on our houses, or almost all of us, some of us 24 hours a day, some in multiple rooms like I did, because I didn't listen, and you get used to it, and you get like addicted to the thing. Okay. Hypnotism, tizzies. You know what a tizzy is? When you work yourself into a tizzy. I'm not trying to be mean here. What do you look at all day long on your, in front of you? All day. Most of us do. On your phone, on your laptop, on your computer. You have virus protection done. Okay. Bill Gates, chips. Okay. Mr. I want to chip everyone. Let me come up with a vaccine. You can come up with a vaccine for strychnine. How are you going to come up with a vaccine for strychnine? I want to know what the vaccine is for strychnine. Okay. He wants to chip everyone. All of us should be chipped. Alright? So they could torture you, keep track of your biorhythms, give you a remote heart attack if they feel like it. Drive you absolutely insane, hurt you from eating meat, abuse the shit out of you, and know your exact location. Spy on you so you can't talk in your own house without fear. Alright? Yeah, that's what they want to do. You know how I know? I'm chipped. That's how I know. And I'm not very happy about it. In fact, if I could, I would rip them out myself. But the mayor wasn't to do so. I'm extremely pissed off. Do you know why I'm chipped? Bill Gates is why I'm chipped. So, can you say communist? Can you say these are all conquering actions? Because obviously, the people are flooding the streets all over the world. And you don't really think that it's all just about me. Because it's not. You know what it's about? Them too. Right? Them too. I'm not the only victim. There's a world full. We're all being abused. We're all being dominated. We're all being destroyed. We're all being treated like garbage. We're not garbage. We're human beings. This is our planet. We belong here. We belong here. Okay. This is our home. This is our country. These are invaders. Whether they're communist or alien. Just stick to communist for now. It's easier. Use the policies. Communist. That's all it is. You broke the law. Just do it that way. It's safer. It's better. Because this is too much. And there's other things that I think I remember that I'm not sure about that I have to check with first before I can. So just go with communist. Because I don't really care. People aren't supposed to eat people. Okay? People aren't supposed to be coveting other people's bodies. Or husbands. Men are not supposed to be looking at little babies and wanting to stick their penis in. Okay? Or raping women. And that goes for our soldiers too. Right? There's no such thing as honorable and good and honest and valor and integrity. And somehow many of you have lost your way. Okay? You have lost your way or you lost your minds or both. Because none of these things have ever been okay since the beginning of time. So if you're doing these types of things, I have to wonder what you are. And I'm not being mean. But why would you do this if you were you? I remember what the air felt like before those things came, or at least when they were here. What it felt like outside. How warm and soft and calm. There wasn't so much fear in the air. There wasn't so much hate and anger. There wasn't so much anxiety or mistrust. They've conditioned you to be that way. And you have to try not to be. Because they're taking from you with every hateful word that you say. You're hurting your own self-esteem and the person you're saying it to. Because you're hearing it too. So it's registering up here too. You're taking from yourself. They have you abusing yourself and each other. And submitting to being abused. And sometimes they tell you it's because they care. I've been a victim of that too. Okay? Abuse is abuse. That's not caring. That's abuse. Right? Love is love. Abuse is abuse. Forcing someone to wear a mask and saying it's because I love you, or I care about you, or don't you care about me? That's emotional blackmail and abuse. It's not love. Loving is respecting, which means respecting each other as human beings, first and foremost, which a lot of you, I'm sorry to say, are not doing. Okay? Respecting each other as human beings. You're a human being, I'm a human being. You might like what you like, I like what I like, but you know what? That's, you let it go. You're a Republican, I'm a Democrat. I don't care. Okay? You're African American, I'm Caucasian. I don't care. You're Chinese, I'm Caucasian. I don't care. Do you know why I don't care? I'm not picking sides here. There's a reason I don't care. Because it's not everyone. Okay? You can't blanket. Which is why I use the policy. Okay? That's going to cover more than enough. That's blanket enough. Use the policies and you have them all. Or just about them all. Right? And then you're not feeding it. And you're putting a stop to it. And you're protecting democracy and the Constitution. And then you're really showing the people that you love them and that you care about. Right? You're not just saying that you do when it's convenient for you. Because, you know what? This isn't convenient for me. But I still have to do it. It's just the way it is. You have to remember the thing called right and wrong. Right? How can you take a knife and mutilate a brand new baby and say that that's right? Is that really the right thing to do? Whose body is that? Was that body given to you? I saw something published that one of these places wants to legalize after birth abortion. After birth. After the baby is actually physically born. Okay? Which is murder. That's murder. They want to legalize murder in the first degree. Right? There are millions of parents out there. Somebody out there could love that baby. If the parent doesn't, you don't have to go home. Right? Did you happen to know when life actually starts? You're not going to like me. Life actually starts the exact moment that the sperm and the egg combine. The minute the sperm pokes its little head into the egg, that's life. That is a miracle. Think about how tiny that sperm is and how tiny the egg is. Itsy bitsy teensy weensy. it grows into one of these. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. The most precious, beautiful thing in the entire world. It's absolutely a miracle. It's magic. It's magic. I probably shouldn't say that, but it is a miracle. Okay. You're supposed to respect that miracle, appreciate that miracle. Not everybody can have that miracle for some reason, okay, but you're supposed to. It's a gift, an absolute gift, a precious gift. But for whatever reason, you look down on it like a burden. Can't wait to take a life insurance policy out on the kid and start poisoning him and abusing him so you can cash it. And you call yourself a parent. So, why don't you give them to someone who will love them and appreciate them and not abuse them? Okay. That would be the selfless thing to do. But of course, then you wouldn't get your paycheck right. That's really all you. So, yeah. Two definite roots of the problem. One being life insurance, the other being poison. Those two roots have a lot of facets, a lot of problems mixed in, from human trafficking to sex trafficking to pedophilia to rape to symbolism, self-esteem robbing behaviors, what you see on the TV set, the breeding of hate. It all basically feeds into those two things. You don't think that it does, but it does. Including people turning a blind eye, not doing their job in criminal corruption. Somebody comes to you and you're an officer and you try to tell them you're turning in serial killers and domestic terrorists and they hang up the phone. I have to ask you, what is that? I also have to ask you, what right do you have to sacrifice us? What right do you have to sacrifice all those people's lives out there? Okay. What right? Who died and made you God? Because you're not. So you shouldn't get a choice in whether or not my girls and I live or my girls and I die. You know why? You're not God. And do you know what that makes you? That makes you a sex trafficker, a human trafficker, a serial killer, a rapist, and a pedophile, whether you were ever one or not. Whether you ever looked at a little kid's privates the wrong way, or whether you actually did it. You're no different. Not at all. None of you are God, in fact. You don't get a choice in who lives and who dies. You shouldn't get to choose. It's not your job. I don't know where you get off coming up with these ideas. All this nastiness. It's beyond disgusting. Do you realize other planets have been blown up because of the same exact thing? From these exact same beings. They're gone. Mars is gone. Why do you think it's gone? They're pirates. This is what they do. This is what they do. All of it. And the communists are helping. And it's disgusting because they sold humanity out. Because they're selfish and greedy. And petty. Unbelievably petty and superficial.